Okay, demonstration on using assignments with your pupils using Microsoft Teams. So what I've done here is I've created a Year 9 test where I've just made a couple of dummy pupils to show you how it works both from the teacher side and the pupil side. So first thing I need to do obviously is create the assignment. So I click on assignments, and because I haven't got any yet, first thing I need to do is press create. I have an option to do a quiz, which is using Microsoft Forms, but here I'm just going to use a simple assignments where I can obviously use a lot of other tools. So it needs to have a title, so I'm just going to call this test. It's for my Year 9s, but obviously you would give it the appropriate title that was needed, and it's clear what the purpose of your assignment is. Same here, you'd want to obviously give clear instructions on what exactly expectations are for your pupils once they've been given this assignment and what you expect to be handed in. So again, I'm just going to write, please complete work on Python attached. Okay, but obviously that's quite basic and simple. You might want to obviously give more instructions so there it's absolutely clear what you're asking them to do. I need to add a resource. I've got a Word document that they are going to use, so bear with me while I find it. I'm going into here and this is the one, so I press open and then it uploads that document. You can add any kind of document you want. You could add a photo if you've got instructions that way. You can PDF, a PowerPoint, a Word, any sort of document can be uploaded. It doesn't just have to be an Office 365 document. So that's there now. I can actually add as many as I want as well. So maybe if you want to add some past paper questions from a PDF, you can. If you want to have two separate documents, maybe a PowerPoint on what they need to do and a Word document where they do their answers, that's fine. What you'll notice about what it says here is students can edit this copy. This is their own copy. So when they open this, they can do their answers inside this copy and then return that. You can change that so they don't, but obviously bearing in mind that it is their own copy, they can make changes too. If you want to grade it, the simple way I do is I try and make it out of 5, so you kind of keep an A to E system. So 5 would be an A, so it's 5 out of 5, 4 would be a B, 4 out of 5, and so on and so forth. Who am I assigning it to? Well, I'm assigning it to Year 9 test. This is my test team that I've just made. You'll obviously have names for your classes. You can actually also choose particular students you want to give this to by adding this instead of having it default all students. The key part is the due date. You can choose a date in the future. So let's say I wanted this handed in by Monday. Well, if I wanted to hand it in by Monday, I would say let's have it that they must have handed it in by 23:59 on the Sunday night. That way you'll have it when you come in on the Monday. You can also change it that you can schedule to assign in the future so that you can make multiple assignments at one time and then they're scheduled to be given to the students when you need them. You can have late hand-ins, but that can also be changed as well by having a close date. But at this point, late hand-ins would be allowed. So you would see on the timestamp of when the student hands it in if they've met your deadline or not. So I've gone with Sunday the 15th of March at 23:59, knowing that when I look at it first thing on Monday morning, they should have all handed in their assignment. So I go to assign. And I go there now and it's been done. If we just give me a couple of minutes, hopefully I will show you how it looks from the other side. Okay, so you can see here it's been assigned. If I go back to my side as the teacher, you can see now it's here in the channel, due on the 15th of March, view the assignment. I'll come back to that from a teacher's side in a second. If I move over to here, you can see that I have a dummy pupil here. Her name is Jane, and she is part of this class and she has the assignment. So if I go from a pupil's perspective, this is what they would see. They would see view assignments. And they can see the name of what you've given it, how many points it's out of, the instructions, again, whatever you write, your clear instructions, it will be here, and that document I attached. So if they want to work on this document, they would press the 3 dots, which would allow them to open and work in Teams, open or work on their desktop Word, open or work on Word Online, and all 3 ways will allow them to edit this document. The other 4th option is for them to download it. If they download it and work on it from there, they'll have to add it back this way by pressing Add Work. Bearing in mind, you don't actually have to give them anything. You might say, I want you to make me a PowerPoint on X, Y, and Z. Once they've created that PowerPoint, they would then just be able to add this work like that. So it'd be nice and simple. They press Add Work, and like you before, you would just get them to upload their work. So if it's something that you've asked them to do, which you haven't given them, they can upload it this way, and it will appear like here as my work. I'm not going to do that at this point, but that's exactly what it would be. I then go to Hand In. And it then shows when the student handed it in and at what time. And that's all they need to do. They can undo it because maybe they're like, oops, I made a mistake. I've still got 2 days before my thing is due. And they can make the appropriate changes and then hand it back in again. And that would obviously be something that they'll hopefully see with the fact that there's an undo. But obviously the hope would be that when they're handing it into you, they're handing in their work and they're happy with it. So now that it's been handed in, I then go back to the teacher's side where I can view the assignment, and hopefully in that time we will have seen yes, that Jane has handed in her work. Joe and John have not, but bearing in mind the deadline hasn't happened yet. And here is where we can see what they've done. So if I click on Hand In, I will then have the document. Obviously there's nothing been done with this document, but I would see whatever work Jane did right in front of me. So this is obviously just a simple test. They have done no work here, but I'd be able to see whatever work they did right in front of me, whether it's a PowerPoint, a PDF, etc. I'll be able to see it on this side. I do have the ability to download it if I want to print it out and read it. Obviously, some people might find that easier than reading it from a screen. That can be done. Either way, you can then scroll through your kids from the top here when they hand in their work. So I can see I can go from John to, if I go to John, it will show what he or has not done, bearing in mind though he has not handed anything in yet. Here is where I can obviously enter the feedback on what I've marked and give them some feedback on how to improve or what they did, or even better if, and obviously give them a mark. So if I was to go back to Jane, keep it nice and simple just for this demonstration. She's perfect, 5 out of 5. And I return. Okay, we then see this green tick here saying it's been returned to the student. And if I go back to here and press close, and back to, you can see I've still got 2 to grade and I've graded 1. It's been returned, the feedback has been given, and the score. And the hope being then, if I go back to Jane, and then back to posts, if she goes up to grades, she's now got her score. She's got returns. If I was to go to assignments, however, the hope will be that not only will she see that it's done, she can click on it and she can see her feedback, her score, and she still has her work. So there is also that opportunity to work on that as well afterwards, so she can see take that for our own use later, download it, etc., etc. And that's the demonstration on Teams from a teacher's side and also the pupil's side.